Hi, I'm Ethan and I'll be teaching you how to play the bass. So the first thing that you'll need is a bass guitar. I have a matte black Dean bass guitar. It doesn't matter what kind you have, just as long as it's functional. The second thing that you'll need is an amp. Technically it's not required, but it is preferred because it makes the sound louder and it sounds a lot better. This one was, I believe, $150, and it's pretty small, but it's very effective. First, you need to plug it in. I already plugged in the power cord. Second thing you'll need to do is plug in the cord that connects the amp to the bass. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. Then you'll need to turn on the amp. Actually, I'll show you real quick what it sounds like without the amp. It sounds alright, but with the amp, I think it sounds a lot better. Let me show you up close what the amp does. On the back is the on-off switch, and also where you plug in the power cord. But up here on the top are the main four knobs that you'll be using. First one is volume, pretty self-explanatory. The overdrive button, what it does is it makes the sound louder and more distorted. Actually, I'll show you all that later. The bass just turns up the bass sound of the amp. The mid is between bass and treble. If you turn both of these down and turn this all the way up, or if you turn this all the way up in general, it makes the sound louder, and it turns up these two. And then the treble is just the opposite of bass. I have it set to these levels already just because it's what I prefer, and I'm not really going to mess with them right now. But the contour button, basically just what that does is it makes the sound quieter, which I usually have to have on because people are usually upstairs and I'm playing bass downstairs. And then here's the aux cord button, plug, and the headphones plug. And this light will tell you if it's on or not, which it is now on. The aux cord, you can plug that into the bass amp, and then you can plug it into a phone or something, and then play songs through the amp, so that when you play the bass, you can play along with the songs. But I don't do that very often. You'd use something like this that has two headphone jacks to it. So, with no overdrive and contour on, this is what it sounds like, just what I had earlier. If I turn contour off and turn overdrive on, that's what it sounds like. A lot louder, as you could tell. And that's basically all you have to really worry about with the amp. Now onto the bass itself. It has 4 strings as opposed to guitars that usually have 6. Not all basses have 4 strings. Some of them could have 5 or 6. It really depends, but most of them have 4. The best way to remember the notes, the letter notes that go with the strings, is that you can use the phrase Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, because it's E-A-D-G-B-E. That's for guitar, but for bass it's just the first 4, so E-A-D-G. So I just use Eddie ate dynamite, good. Still works, and it's pretty funny, so it's something that's easy to remember. These 2 knobs, I don't actually mess with them at all, because one of them does bass and treble, so bass on one side and treble on the other, and you can mess with them and go in between the 2, and then the other one is volume. I keep both of them actually halfway, because you can do everything on the amp instead, and I prefer doing that. So now into the actual playing. You'd put your thumb right here if you're plucking, which is the most common technique, and then you would just hold down one of the strings on one of the frets and pull the string up towards you, and so that when you let go, it bounces back and it makes the vibration. That's the most common way to do it. Sometimes you can strum by using a guitar pick. As you can tell, it doesn't sound that great. That's because that's not what the bass is designed for. But people can just put their thumb here and go ahead and pluck out some stuff. Makes it very easy to do. Tuning the bass, it's pretty simple. It's not any different than guitar. You just got to turn these, play that. I just have a bass tuning app on my phone that I use. And that's about it.